Hi, friends. I am so glad that you are here. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas and time with your family and friends if you couldn't get home for Christmas. We sure did. It was wonderful. We were home for 10 days. It was great. Got to see lots and lots of family, lots and lots of friends. All wonderful. But grateful to be back here with you. And just now, and today is New Year's Eve, so that's exciting. So happy New Year's. I hope you have great plans for tonight and goals for the new year, and that you're just gonna move forward with wonderfulness. I don't know. Anywho, so do you ever get to this point where you feel like you don't know what's happening, you don't see the end, there's like circumstances that you want to be gone, but you can't get rid of them, and like there's a point where you just can't see the other side or the end of something, and things are just rough, and there's like either slight turmoil or major turmoil going on in your life, and if that's the case with you, that happens to me more often than I'd like to admit. My name is Elise from Halcom Studio, and my goal is to help women feel more confident in business through branding and faith, and this is a faith segment. This is Jesus time, and so we're going to talk about looking back and moving ahead. So looking back at what God has done for you in the past to help you move ahead with where you're going in the future, not just in your business, just in life in general, and in your business as well, but just life is mostly what I'm talking about. So I was prepping for this, and I don't prep really far in advance for these, usually about a day, so I usually do it the day before, but sometimes I have some scheduled out ones, but for the most part I just ask the Lord what He wants. If He doesn't bring something that's going on in my life right then to talk about, which seems to usually be the case, I start going back through my journals, and just seeing what He's taught me recently and if anything pops out. And so this is something that kind of came from that. I started this journal particularly November 1st, which was the day that Nolan was called and told that the job that he wanted in Mississippi was going to be opening, which is awesome. We were looking forward to it. We were moving ahead, like things were good, and that was exciting, but that excitement also brought some fear, which was weird because I really like change. I think it's exciting. I like to do whatever's next and new and more exciting than right now. I've talked about that. Sometimes that can be a problem for me. But so this fear that came about, I just didn't make a lot of sense. But I was just thinking, like, which doesn't make sense because I knew this was a transition area, right? But we decided that we were going to be here wholeheartedly. Since we were going to be here, we didn't know how long we were going to be here. It's been almost a year now. And so we got really involved in a church, made a lot of friends, worked with some ministries, did stuff with people, like just made community and good connections here the way God had called us to do. And so we did that, and that was awesome. And then it's like, well, dang, I just freaking did all that. Like, now now I'm moving, and in my head, which doesn't make any sense, I thought, what if I can't do this again? Which is partially why I'm talking about this, is like, I can look back and see when we moved to Panama City and all the connections we made there, and then the Lord moved us from Panama City to Fort Walton and all the connections we made here. And it's like every time He moves us, He puts people in our lives that are important for us and important for them. And so I don't know why and I'm like, do you do this too? You've seen it happen a couple of times, but this has got to be the time it's not going to work, right? Like, He's been faithful all these other times, but now, can't. He's just going to let me fall. Isn't that crazy? And so I was just reading my journal and reading about that fear, and thankfully God is very gracious to me, and He is very quick to remind me of these type of things. And so when I get in these types of tizzies, He reminds me I can trust in Him. He is, there. And so as I was prepping for this yesterday, he brought Joshua 3 to mind, and I'm going to just synopsis some of the story and then read a little bit of it, and I lost my place, so just bear with me for just a second. So in Joshua 3 and 4, lost my pen. This is the story where the Israelites crossed the Jordan. This is the second time that they've crossed over a river, a big river. So this is Jordan River. They did the Red Sea the first time. So Joshua tells the priests to carry the Ark of the Covenant into the water, and the water is kept back, and all the Israelites cross on dry ground. And while they do that, there's 12 men, one from each tribe, picks up a stone from the middle of the river and takes it with them. And so that's what's happening. And then on the then I'm going to read Joshua 4:20 through 24. It says, "And Joshua set up at Gilgal the 12 stones they had taken out of the Jordan. He said to the Israelites, 'In the future, when your descendants ask their parents, what do these stones mean? Tell them, Israel crossed the Jordan on dry ground. For the Lord your God dried up the Jordan before you until you had crossed over. The Lord your God did this to the Jordan what he had done. The Lord your God did to the Jordan what he had done to the Red Sea when he dried it up before us until we had crossed over. He did this so that all the peoples of the earth might know that the hand of the Lord is powerful, and so that you might always fear the Lord your God.'" So he put these stones and created this, set up at Gilgal the 12 stones that they had taken out of the Jordan. So he created this like monument type deal. And so I would say that just like these stones were a monument, like we have these monuments kind of in our life that we can look back on and see. And like Joshua, I can look back on events in my life. Like there's nothing physical. I guess you can save something physical if you want, but these are just memories. And so like amazing things that God has done in my life that I know were God, because there's no other way that it was even possible. And I can see his work. Like, I'm going to give you a couple of examples. Like when Nolan transitioned from active duty to full-time reserves, like there was a period he had about 30 days of leave. So it was supposed to take a month. So he was going to be getting paid the whole time. We were not going to get a lapse in anything, which was awesome. We were ready to roll. And when he first stopped and he was on his leave section, like taking time off, one of the guys at church offered him a job, and we didn't think he needed a job, but he decided he'd take it so he wasn't bored at home. And why not it was a construction job, so he's got some handy skills now for remodeling, so I'm appreciative of that. But so he took this job thinking, okay, I'll work there for like a month. Okay. Then it was month and 2 months and 3 months, and we wound up it took almost 6 months for him to get the job we thought he was going to get in 30 days. And that was crazy. And this job was just given to him while we were waiting. And God totally provided, because we went from our incomes together to being cut into about a third, because he made a lot more money than I did at that point in time. And even with this new job, we still weren't making even half of what we were making. And so, I don't remember like anything bad happening during that time. Like we were totally fine, like financially okay. We were good in all the aspects, but financially, which is the point where we would be worried about, like we weren't. God stepped up at that moment and like really, really provided for us and gave us a new faith. And I would say that each of these stories I'm going to tell you 3, like they each have grown on top of each other and given us more faith to be able to do the next thing. This next story. So the next one is my last 2 jobs. I worked at a base as a designer, and then at a credit union as a designer as well in their marketing department. Both great jobs. Loved them so much. I applied for them. I got interviewed. Things were good. And then I was told by both, not just one, both of them told me that they were not going to hire me. They had hired someone else. And I was like, okay, so I'd resolved myself to not getting the job. Totally fine. But then, within a couple of weeks, I got calls for both of them. And they're 3 years apart. Like, this wasn't close to each other. And I got both the jobs. And like, I feel like God did that because he doesn't want me to take credit for getting these jobs, because I wasn't qualified for either of these jobs that I was given. I am very, very grateful for both of them, and I 100% believe that God provided them for me. And that was amazing, and they were wonderful, wonderful jobs. And then the last one I'm going to talk about is like moving after the storm, just like moving here and selling our house, and the ability to sell our house. Like, we had some insurance money. The people were going to give us some money to, buy the house from us, but we still had to come up with like $45,000, like, what, and we had it. And that's a miracle in itself. I cannot explain to you. It doesn't make sense mathematically. But we had the money to be able to pay our house off and to sell it, so that we aren't holding on to that burden when we move to the new place. We are so free, and that is because of the Lord. And so, because there's all these things that could be scary, but then just like looking and seeing what God has done is amazing. So whatever you're gonna do, like whatever, if you're getting a new job, if you're moving to a new town, if you just have to talk to a new person, if you're whatever it is that's going on in your life, that new or scary or maybe not new thing that's going on, and maybe it's not new at all, maybe it's something you've just been dealing with for a long time, that you are like, the circumstance has not gone yet, that you want to be gone. Just look back on the things that God has done for you in the past. See what he has done, and then move ahead with this assurance of who he is. God is who he was then. He is who he is now. Same. I said that weird, but you know what I mean. He's the same then as he is now. And so if you could trust him then, and he provided for you and helped you through these things and made it a point, and if you're a child of God, he is doing these things for you, then trust that he'll do it for you again. All these things happened, the things I told you about, and they were not in my plan. I did not expect them, but God knows what he's doing, and he knew beforehand, and he knows what's happening with you, and he knows what's going on, and he knows how it's all going to work out. And Proverbs 16:9 says, "In their hearts humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps." And that's the truth. I would have never in a million years, if you asked me 2 years ago if I ever thought I'd live in Mississippi, absolutely not. Nope. Didn't think so. But here we are. We're probably going to move there in the next 2 months. Hallelujah, praise the Lord. I'm ready to do whatever it is he has. I'm real strong right now, but there will be times when I'm freaked out about it. And I will look back, thankfully, because the Lord reminds me quickly, and see what God has done for me. And I just want to encourage you to do the same. When things are scary, when things are not what you expected, not what you planned, look up, look at God, focus on him, look back on the things he's done before, and just stand in who he says you are. If you are a daughter of Christ, and he has your back. So God's plan is so much better than mine, and I don't know where we're headed or what we're doing or why we're going to Mississippi. I don't know. I never thought I'd be doing Facebook Lives either, but I'm glad I'm doing them, even though they scare me. I just trust that the Lord is taking care of it and doing what he is planning to do. So, I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. Look back on the things in your life. See how good God was, and know he's the same now. Give him your days. Give him control, because he knows what's going on. He knows what's up. Hold your head up high. Look back on what he's done and move forward with assurance, and let him lead you, because that's the best place to go. So yeah. So I hope that this gives you some encouragement and some peace, and if you're in a scary time, and I'm not saying it's going to be easy. You may have to redo this like every day 1,000 times, like every minute, like, okay, still freaking out. Look at Jesus. See what he is. See what he's done. Focus. And you'll be focused for the next 30 minutes. And then if it comes back, if a wave of fear, do it again. And I'm not saying that's going to get easy, but it'll get more, it'll come quicker. And the process will be easier. Not the situation, not the circumstance, but the reworking, I don't know the word, looking up, I don't know, refocusing. There we go. Man, that was a struggle. Refocusing what you're looking, or where you're looking, and what your focus is on will become easier. Your circumstances may never, they'll change, God will get you through them. But they may not change, and they probably won't change as fast as you want them to. I know mine haven't. So yeah. But if you are listening to this and you don't know Jesus at all, and you don't know this peace or joy that comes from knowing Christ and being able to look back on your life and seeing the things He has done in your life, and if you're interested in any way, I would love to talk to you about Him. I cannot tell you I know all the answers. I am not a theologian. I'm not even that smart. But I will look them up for you. I know who He is in a personal, intimate way, and I can tell you about what I do know. I'm just a girl who loves Jesus and listens to what He says for me to do. And so I would love to talk to you. If you want to send me a direct message, or if you want to give me a call, if you have a number. If you don't have a number, send me a direct message. I will give it to you. We can talk on the phone. I don't have a problem with that one little bit. Or text, or however you feel it is. But Jesus can be your best friend, your Lord, your Savior, your everything. And life can be full of joy no matter what your circumstance. So yeah, it's a good life to live, and I would love for you to live that too. I hope everyone has a really, really wonderful, happy New Year. Be safe tonight. Don't be one of the crazies on the road, and be careful from the crazies that are on the road. Be safe, and I guess I will see you guys in the new year. All right.